Yes, very briefly, I'm just glad to have woken up today. Well, that's always true, but even more so this morning, and find that World War III had not started because last night the Ayatollah Khamenei put on X or Twitter, the Zionist regime is about to go. And not only that, but right after he put that up, then the Iranian state TV announced in the coming hours, the world will witness extraordinary scenes and very important developments. And so I thought, well, they're going to retaliate as they have promised for the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh, the Hamas top dog, in a safe house in Tehran, which of course sent a very strong signal to all of the Iranian leadership that it was able to be done right in the heart of what should have been their most secure area. Of course, the extraordinary developments did not materialize. We didn't see much of anything happening, but it is very likely to happen very soon. And it is important to remember that all of this is likely to happen very soon because of none other than Joe Biden and his regime. Or is it the Harris regime now? In any case, the Biden regime is financing the war against Israel. And we should make no mistake about that. The Iranian regime was in desperate economic straits on January 20th, 2021, and was facing tremendous internal pressure as well as external pressure that became even more intense when a girl named Mahsa Amini was murdered by the Iranian morality police for not wearing her hijab properly. And so the regime very well could have fallen and was very close to falling, but was bailed out by Joe Biden. Not only did he do this before October 7th, 2023, and the Hamas massacre of 1,200 people in Israel on that day, but he did it afterward. He actually freed up $10 billion in frozen assets and sent the money to the Islamic Republic of Iran. He needed a special waiver on US sanctions in order to do this. And so we're talking about, I want to make sure everybody understands, the President of the United States, which is supposed to be allied with Israel, made sure that the Islamic Republic of Iran got $10 billion after October 7th, even though Iran is the chief financier of Hamas, and Hezbollah, the jihad terror group in Lebanon, is a wholly owned and operated subsidiary of the Islamic Republic of Iran and was actually created by the Islamic Republic of Iran. So, $10 billion in unfrozen assets. That money, you must recall, was the Shah of Iran's money. And there were various transactions that were in process when the Shah was driven from power in 1979. And the United States had some of his money, but had not delivered various weaponry that he had bought. And the assets were frozen. The United States wisely, even during Jimmy Carter's administration, did not want to give that money back to the Islamic regime in Tehran. And so successive presidencies, Carter, Reagan, the first Bush, Clinton, the second Bush, even Barack Obama, and certainly Trump, they did not return this money to Iran because they did not believe that it rightly belonged to the Islamic Republic. It was left to the Biden regime to send this money to Iran right at the time when Iran is waging a proxy war against America's ostensible ally. And so this war is happening because the United States government is funding the Islamic Republic of Iran. And so when you're talking about World War III, it's a very peculiar situation where the United States is on the wrong side. And we are trying to defend free societies, free civilizations against so many threats. The threats of the totalitarians who would clamp down on any dissent and make it impossible for conferences like this one to be held, and the threats from China, from Russia, from so many other sources. And one of the biggest is right in Washington, D.C., in the Oval Office. If it were not for the $10 billion that the Biden people sent to Iran, Hamas and Hezbollah might very well not be fighting right now. And we would not be on the brink of a significant escalation, which is almost certain to come, when Hezbollah launches a full-scale attack on Israel, and that would be essentially Iran opening another front. Combined with that, of course, we have another threat that is created internally. You may have heard a few months ago, there was a significant security breach at Quantico Marine Base in Virginia. And if you didn't hear about it, it's even worse, because this is not the kind of story that gets reported in the establishment media. But there were two Jordanian nationals who strolled across the open border between Mexico and the United States. And they were driving a truck onto Quantico Marine Base. And when they were stopped for the ordinary security checkpoint, they said that they were Amazon delivery men. Yeah, it wasn't marked. They didn't have an Amazon truck, but they said that they were an Amazon subcontractor. And they presented various forms. The forms did not check out with what they were saying. There was no record of this subcontractor. And so they were told, drive over here and we will check and see what's going on with you and see if we can let you onto the base. And instead, they kept driving on the road that led straight into Quantico, and then were stopped because the vehicle barriers were activated, you know, the things that actually come up and block the road. And so they were not able to get into Quantico. However, they have just been released. This happened a few months ago, and several days ago, Hassan Hamdan and Mohammed Dabous, these two Jordanian nationals, were released into the United States, despite the fact that they not only entered the United States illegally, but they tried to breach the security of an American military base under false pretenses. They are now who knows where, within the United States. And of course, who knows how many others are just like them who are already here. There were already well over 100 people on the terror watch list who were caught at the border over the last year. And that means that there's an unknowable number who got through without being caught. And these people are in the United States now. So you've got people on the terror watch list. You've got people who committed, I mean, we don't really know what Hamdan and Dabous were trying to do at Quantico, because their truck was searched and they didn't have anything in it. But it appears that it most likely was some kind of a dry run to test the security at marine bases. And so you've got these guys walking around. You've got guys on the terror watch list walking around, and that is courtesy of the Biden regime. You've got the Biden regime financing the war against America's foremost and most dependable ally in the Middle East that faces exactly the same threat of Islamic Jihad that took down the Twin Towers and killed almost 3,000 people in New York and Washington on September 11th, 2001. And so what we have actually is a genuine traitor regime. This is, do you think that's an exaggeration? Do you think that's hysterical? I think that this is a gang of people who are criminals and traitors, have gained control by various means, some of which many of you are very familiar with, going back to 2020, going back to long before that. They have gained control of the United States government. And so we are facing another election in the fall. Don't be at all surprised if Kamala Harris gains a victory that surprises all the pundits and is swept on a wave of affection from the American people into the Oval Office, with a few conspiracy theorists and right-wing extremists claiming falsely, without any evidence, that there is evidence of electoral irregularities. This is the nation that we live in today. We have to keep aware, be fully aware of what we are dealing with and what we're up against. I am not saying that all is lost by any means. Actually, their disarray in the last few weeks over the coup against Biden and the anointing of Kamala Harris, it was very entertaining to see, and it showed that they don't have all the I's dotted and T's crossed. They are capable of making mistakes, very powerful forces, very evil forces, but they don't have everything taken care of. They can be defeated, and as long as we persevere and remain speaking the truth and acting upon the truth and unwilling to compromise, they will be defeated. Thank you.
Oh, Robert.